People who worked in restaurants. What was your I need to quit moment? I was bartending this private party a few years ago, and honestly, the night started normal enough. One guest asks if I can plug in his iPhone behind the bar so he can play a song. Easy. I do it, he tips me $20, everybody's vibing. Then this dude proceeds to get absolutely annihilated, like spiritually evicted from sobriety. Bro was wobbling around the venue like a shopping cart with one broken wheel. Eventually the party ends, and I notice he left his phone charging behind the bar. Brand new iPhone, too. Back then, that thing basically cost the GDP of a small nation. So I'm trying to help this man. I go, "Sir, don't forget your phone." And this psychopath whips around and throws a beer directly at me. Full splash. Smelled like a frat basement for the rest of the night. Then he starts screaming, "Leave me the f*** alone," and tells me to get a real job. Okay, buddy. So I stopped trying to help. And guess who suddenly became the proud owner of a very nice abandoned iPhone after nobody came back looking for it? Crazy how fast customer service disappears once you assault the staff like a drunken pirate. Story 2. Some customers don't just want free food. They want a full theatrical production with legal threats and airborne chicken. I worked fast food, and this lady from the real estate office next door ordered a chicken box, then apparently drove around for an hour in the middle of summer, with the food sitting directly under her car's AC vent. Basically refrigerated her own dinner like a mobile meat locker. Then she calls screaming that the cold chicken almost killed her. Ma'am, you slow cook the meal in reverse. My manager, who folded under pressure like wet cardboard during summer rushes, offered her a free replacement meal. Huge mistake. Massive. She comes back to collect it, and while she's waiting, one of our chefs grabs her old food from the window. Dude opens the box, pulls out the untouched biscuit, tosses the rest, and walks off holding the bread like some exhausted goblin scavenging resources after battle. Absolutely terrible optics. This woman instantly starts shrieking that we're recycling food, screaming about health inspectors, lawsuits, court, the whole cinematic meltdown package. Drive-through line backing up into traffic while she's parked there, conducting a one-woman true crime documentary. Finally, her replacement meal comes up fresh and steaming hot. My boss personally walks it to the window, basically telling her to leave. And then out of nowhere, this woman launches the entire box of chicken back through the drive-through window like an NFL quarterback possessed by Satan. Chicken everywhere. Biscuits airborne. Grease explosions across the lobby. She peeled out of the parking lot, while all of us just stood there in stunned silence, like survivors after a natural disaster. Then my boss immediately yelled at the first employee dumb enough to still be making eye contact to clean it up. Story 3. I had this husband and wife come in during an absolutely brutal lunch rush. Place was packed. Servers speed walking like NPCs with low health bars. And this guy was rude immediately, interrupting me, talking over me, acting like every sentence out of my mouth personally offended him. He orders chips and salsa plus roasted wings and keeps aggressively emphasizing he wants them together before the entrees. Cool. Chips take like 1 minute. Wings take around 12, but I ring them in together because apparently this man thinks appetizers should arrive like synchronized swimmers. Not even 3 minutes later, this dude is already flagging down my coworker across the restaurant, yelling that they've been waiting forever and demanding chips now. Meanwhile, I'm stuck handling a giant party table, fighting for my life. Coworker rushes out the chips, and somehow the wings are already up too. Guy takes one bite, then frisbees the plate across the table toward her like he's trying out for the Olympics of being a dickhead. Starts screaming the food's cold, service sucks, worst restaurant experience ever. All that dramatic Yelp warrior dialogue. I genuinely shut down when grown men yell at me. So I escaped to the kitchen before my nervous system blue-screened. Thankfully, my manager actually had my back and told the guy to pay and leave. Then while cleaning the table, I found the tip. 1 penny. Not metaphorically. Literally 1 single penny sitting there like a tiny copper middle finger. Coworker grabbed it and immediately threw it in the trash, which honestly felt healing. Then later, my general manager calls asking why somebody left a Yelp review calling me professionally challenged. Sir, the man threw poultry at us. Story 4. Nothing prepares you for a customer verbally destroying your staff for 20 minutes and then asking for a job application like it's a Marvel post-credit scene. I used to work drive-thru, and this one guy came through who had really severe germophobia and OCD. Everybody already knew him because he was a lot. Like, entire shift mood changes when his car appears a lot. My coworker didn't want to deal with him, so I washed my hands, went to the window, took his card, gave him the coffee, tied to the order on screen. Turns out the order taker forgot to ring in his actual drink. Annoying? Sure. Happens sometimes. Could have been fixed in 30 seconds, but this man absolutely detonated. Starts screaming at my supervisor through the drive-thru window saying she's stupid, unprofessional, shouldn't even be employed. Stayed parked there for 20 minutes raging over coffee. 20 minutes in drive-thru time feels like 7 presidential terms. Cars stacking behind him like a traffic apocalypse simulator. Meanwhile, my supervisor is genuinely the sweetest person alive. After he finally peeled out of there, she went in the back and cried. Then somehow, less than a month later, he calls to apologize because his therapist told him he should. Spent 3 hours on the phone apologizing, while also blaming us for making him late that day. And at the very end, this man asks if we're hiring. Brother, what position did you think you qualified for after all that? Customer of the month? Story 5. I used to work wedding events, and one night after this massive reception ended, I started cleaning the espresso machine. Important detail, once that cleaning cycle starts, the machine is basically in surgery mode. 12 full minutes, no drinks, no shortcuts. You can't just pause it any more than you can pause a washing machine mid-spin and expect dry towels. Party had already been over like 30 minutes too. People lingering around drunk-hugging relatives and stealing centerpieces like raccoons with Pinterest boards. Then the father of the bride comes over demanding an espresso. I politely tell him, absolutely, just gotta wait about 10 minutes because the machine's cleaning. This man instantly activates rich customer final boss mode. Starts ranting about how much money he spent on the wedding, like I personally pocketed it and spent it on jet skis. Then he drags my manager over. Manager immediately starts ripping into me in front of him before even asking what happened. So I literally point at the espresso machine screen showing the cleaning cycle countdown like I'm presenting evidence at a murder trial. Didn't matter. Still got suspended for 2 weeks for not magically bending time and espresso technology with my mind. Honestly, should have just summoned the coffee wizard, apparently. Story 6. I was serving this guy who apparently hated his food so much that instead of using words like a normal mammal, he waves me over all calm and goes, "Put your hand out." And because customer service brain rot is real, I actually did it. Thought maybe he was handing me a receipt or a foreign object he found in the food or literally anything else. Nope. This man leans forward and spits the entire bite from his mouth directly into my hand. Full, chewed, mouthful. I just froze, like my brain blue-screened in real time. You know when your soul temporarily leaves your body because reality becomes too stupid to process? That. Then he goes, completely serious, "I want a refund. And make me something else." Sir? I don't even remember what happened immediately after because my survival instincts took over. I just walked straight to the bathroom and scrubbed my hands for what felt like 17 business days, skin practically dissolving off like I was trying to remove radioactive waste. Luckily, my coworker saw the whole thing, told my boss, and the dude got kicked out permanently, which honestly saved me from catching an assault charge with a bread basket. Story 7. Drunk people really do treat basic reading comprehension like it's an optional side quest. I was bartending during this private event one night. Whole place rented out. We had signs everywhere too. Big signs on the doors saying "closed for private party" in giant letters. Like billboard-sized, impossible to miss stuff. Basically the visual equivalent of getting hit in the face with a folding chair. So this drunk dude stumbles in and orders a drink. I already knew he wasn't with the party because he had been in before, and also this man looked like he got dressed by losing a fight with a laundromat. Everybody inside was in cocktail attire, and he's standing there in cargo shorts and chaos. I tell him, "Sorry man, private event tonight, can't serve you," and he immediately goes nuclear. Starts yelling, tells me to f*** off, asks if I want to fight. Over vodka soda access. Like, sir, this isn't Roadhouse. Then on his way out, he screams, "You guys should put up signs," as he literally walks past 3 signs. 3. I almost ascended into another dimension. Funniest part though? Dude came back the next day completely sober and apologized like a normal human being. Honestly, respectable. Rare drunk customer redemption arc. Story 8. Nothing tests your faith in humanity, quite like getting robbed by a priest over mozzarella sticks. Back in college, I waited tables, and my absolute worst customer was this Catholic priest who came in with some poor guy he was clearly trying to squeeze donations out of. Whole meal. This dude acted unbelievably smug and condescending, snapping fingers, talking down to me, sending stuff back, basically acting like the patron saint of being annoying. I survived the whole dinner somehow, dropped the check, and thank God that's over. Wrong. This man straight up leaves without paying. Not just no tip either. He stiffed the entire bill and stole the leather check presenter on the way out like some kind of holy raccoon. I told my manager, expecting the usual corporate shrug. But a couple weeks later, divine comedy strikes. Same priest comes back with like 20 members of his congregation. Full church squad. And my manager walks right up to him in front of everybody and says he's not welcome back after dining and dashing last time. You could feel the awkwardness hit the room like a grenade with the pin pulled. Whole group turned around and left. Best manager I ever had. Absolute legend. Dude defended me like I was under witness protection. Story 9. I worked at a bakery for 2 years, and I swear to God, the customers there were built different. I've done food service my whole life, lived in Toronto for years, dealt with all kinds of psychos, and somehow bakery customers were still the final boss species of entitlement. One Saturday, one of our staff texts quit 5 minutes before her opening shift. 5 minutes before. We open at 8 a.m., and suddenly I'm basically running the front solo like a panicked raccoon operating an espresso machine. Kitchen guy tried helping, but he only knew how to bag stuff, not coffee or cash register. So I'm sprinting around making drinks, ringing people up, grabbing pastries, sweating through my soul, while the line keeps growing like a zombie horde. And this one dude is standing there getting increasingly dramatic about waiting, huffing, puffing, looking around like he's being held hostage instead of delayed 6 minutes from receiving a blueberry muffin. Then he suddenly snaps and yells, "F this, I'm not fucking waiting for this shit." And this grown man throws his bagged muffin directly at my head before storming out. A muffin? Like some low-budget pastry assassin. I genuinely almost chased him into the parking lot. My fight-or-flight response picked felony for a second there. Story 10. I used to bartend at this restaurant/movie theater combo place, and during huge movie premieres, the bar would turn into absolute warfare. Wall-to-wall people, sticky floors, ticket lines wrapped around the building. Felt like serving drinks inside a collapsing airport terminal. And because people could take drinks into the theaters, we completely ran out of glassware one night. Like, empty. I'm digging through shelves back there like a raccoon in a dumpster, hoping a clean rocks glass magically spawns. So this guy sits at the bar with his wife or girlfriend and orders a Jack Daniel's neat. Only clean thing left is a pint glass. I pour it, explain the situation politely, even apologize. This man takes one look at it and goes, all smug, "I'm not very happy, brother. It's whiskey in a slightly taller cylinder. Calm down." So I hit him with, "Unfortunately, we're not making any more glasses back here." And, oh my God, you'd think I spit directly into his bloodstream. Him and his wife instantly act horrified like I slapped him with a bar towel. At that point, I was spiritually done. Got my manager. Manager tells them the exact same thing I did, then gives them a free drink. Suddenly, they're perfectly happy. Crazy how customer outrage mysteriously disappears when free alcohol enters the chat. Story 11. Youth sports parents are either the nicest people alive or a traveling natural disaster. There is no middle setting. I work at this local restaurant that's basically a magnet for families and sports teams, and every Sunday this one giant group rolls in like a biblical plague wearing matching hoodies. Parents immediately start drinking and completely ignore their kids, who then transform the restaurant into a free-range daycare obstacle course. I'm talking preteens, sprinting laps between tables, screaming, climbing booths, touching everything with sticky little gremlin hands. Feels less like a restaurant and more like somebody released feral raccoons into an Applebee. And these people never call ahead. One time, they tried walking in with a party of 45 during peak sports banquet season when we were already packed wall to wall, like shoulder to shoulder packed. Sardines in a can packed. They got mad we couldn't magically unfold another dimension with extra tables. Then, every order is modified into a completely different meal. Can I get the burger but no bun, sub chicken, sauce on side, extra crispy fries but soft in the middle? At that point, you're not ordering food, you're submitting patch notes. And after all that, 0 tip. Not low tip. 0. Also, the funniest part is people assume I'm just a server. Nah, I cook too. And take orders, pour beers, run food, bus tables, wash dishes. Basically one understaffed cryptid wearing non-slip shoes held together by caffeine and resentment. Story 12. There was this older couple who came into the restaurant every single week, and I genuinely adored them. Super kind, always chatting with staff, still obviously crazy in love after decades together. Honestly, they felt like future goals. They lived out in this gorgeous little countryside town and always had stories about gardening or day trips or whatever wholesome retired people do. And the husband talked like Ray Winstone, which automatically made him cool as hell in my brain. Serving them always made the shift less miserable. Then one day, the restaurant was doing one of those World Hunger charity things where customers could add like 25 pence to help starving kids in Africa. Bit corny, sure, but most people just shrugged and ticked the box because it's literally pocket lint money. So I bring their bill over, and this man suddenly goes, "I ain't giving no money to some fucking just straight up launches into this horrific racist rant out of absolutely nowhere. And I froze, completely blindsided. It genuinely felt like watching somebody rip off a Scooby-Doo mask, except underneath was just worse somehow. Like realizing your sweet granddad type role model has been secretly cooking hatred in a slow cooker for 50 years. I finished the interaction on autopilot, but honestly, I was gutted afterward. Weirdly heartbreaking when someone you respected turns out to be rotten underneath.